The radiator in my 65 Ford Falcon has a pinhole leak that has been spraying into my engine bay, and it's only been getting worse in the past few weeks. So it was definitely time to replace this radiator. But getting the new one to fit didn't go exactly as planned. Hi guys, and welcome back to Ellie's Garage, where my dad and I are restoring a 1965 Ford Falcon to become my daily driver. But we're learning as we go. So yes, it's time to replace this radiator, and our good friends at Holley sent us a brand new radiator to install. But we've got a problem. Dad and I were planning a trip up to Pennsylvania to work with our good friend Jerry Kratz on some upcoming projects with Carl. But this was only a few days away, so there wasn't a lot of room for error. Okay, so this is the new radiator that we got from Holley. It is different from the original radiator, not to the car that we have from the car, because this is 2 rows of cooling instead of 3. The only trouble with this radiator, I'm just gonna put this back on. The only trouble with this radiator is that the top channels compartments.
I guess I was calling it the tank, the top and bottom tank. Yeah,
makes sense. So the top and bottom tank are wider than the one we have in now, and that's a little concerning because the one we have in now is pretty tight. The core is the same size, but because the tanks are bigger, we're kind of iffy on if this is going to fit. So that is what today, right now, is all about, is we're going to take the old radiator out, unplug all the holes, drain it and everything, and then we are going to try to fit this in.
Before we paint it. Yeah.
Before we paint it. Because if it doesn't fit, we need to return it to Holley.
You can already see some drips from it leaking from the last time you drove it.
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready if you are. I'm just going to try to do it gently.
Okay.
Here it comes. Here, I'm gonna open the...
After getting the radiator drained, it was time to move on to removing the radiator shroud, as well as the new expansion tank, which we had just put in.
Okay, I'm gonna go put the petcock back on and pull the transmission cooler lines.
Well, I pulled the...
Oh yeah, the hose and expansion tank, and then start working on those guys. Petcock.
Oh.
Nice. There we go. How about that?
Yep. That way, and then...
You know what we're really talking about.
Wait, keep going. Yeah. No, pull up as far as you can and then turn.
Oh, nice. That was the way to go.
Okay, so obviously this is the new one, this is the old one. There are quite a few differences. I think this one is a little thicker, which is a little bit worrying. The tanks on the top and bottom are bigger, but this one is shorter than this one.
Surprisingly.
Obviously, if you have watched the previous episode, we did paint this before we ever put it in, because the metal was just really... It looked really weird. So we want to do the same thing for this one, but we want to double check that it fits because we don't want to paint it and then have it not work.
So we don't want to mess up the fins as we try to test fit it.
And we are prone to.
So we'll cover it. Okay. Let's just see how crazy it gets. So I'm kind of holding here. Check your battery from the side.
Do you hear? That's the van.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sliding across.
No, I know, but I'm worried that's pushing down.
Ooh, that is tight. My goodness.
As we tried to install the new radiator, the thickness of the core seemed to just be at the edge of what would fit. But what continued to be the problem were the tanks at the top and the bottom that kept running into everything, from our fan to our air conditioning lines.
Well, these top tanks are just so wide. Yeah. If you had a V8, it'd be no problem.
Yeah, but you have more.
But the clearance is so tight on the 6-cylinder because it's just so long.
So clearly that radiator wasn't gonna fit, and now we had a big problem. With only a few days before we had to leave, we called our friends at Holley, who immediately overnight shipped another radiator, and by the time that we were able to install it that week, it was the day before we had to leave for the road trip. Why does this always happen to us?
I know.
Okay, we are heading out tomorrow evening, so we have to get this radiator in now. Holley overnighted us this radiator from Scott Drake and ACP. We'll put the link in the description of what exactly this radiator is. But we're gonna open it and put it in and see the cool features that this specific radiator has. Look with the legs.
I love that it's already black.
I know, that makes our lives so much easier. Okay, so fun things about this radiator. It is copper and brass, not aluminum like the other two that we have seen in this one episode. There's some, what do we call it? Controversy? Car controversy, I guess you could say. Controversy about whether copper and brass cools worse than aluminum. But on, not only in the box, but on the website, it actually says that the type of copper or brass or whatever they use cools just as well as their aluminum. So this radiator should cool just as well. It should be more durable, right?
I think so.
And it's already black, so that's a lot less work on our part that we are very excited not to do. So now we need to put it in. First, Dad and I relocated the bolt thread clips from the old radiator to the new one.
Lovely.
Then we positioned the shroud, and then it was time to install. Something sitting.
It's okay.
It's the drain.
The Petco?
Yeah.
Just touching the fan blade?
Yeah, really bad, actually.
So yeah, it actually comes out when you, or goes in when you loosen it. Yeah. Nice. Don't even forget to tighten that up, because otherwise we're gonna be
open.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll be leaking, cooling all over. Nice. Okay, take two.
Don't mess up, Dad. Yeah, it's just a pet card cube. Yeah.
Bingo.
We got it in, and that's great, but now it was time for us to bolt everything else we had taken off back in as well. Okay, hard part is over. We kind of expected that the hardest part was going to be putting on all the bolts, but now they're tight and on, and we're never doing this again. So now all I have to do is put on the hoses. We bought these hoses at the very beginning. They say Fomoco. We thought they were awesome, but they didn't fit the original radiator. So we are finally going to put these on. I'm very excited, but because we've had them for 3+ years, almost positive bugs are in here. So we're gonna wash them out real quick. You see it coming out? So, final step-ish. Putting the hoses on, we ran warm water through them, so they should be a little pliable, a little more pliable. We're gonna put some soapy water on each end of where it connects in the hose so that it goes on easier. So that's what we're gonna do now. Use the block.
I'm gonna kind of put it. I do the bottom, yeah.
That's what I was going for. Oh, that's so much easier.
That go on pretty easy?
That went on so much easier.
Oh, what about the, I guess the hose clamps we can just slip on after.
Oh, no, we can't.
Sure we can. I mean, they can open up. It's a little annoying, but...
I know, but this one side is open, so why don't we just...
Oh, yeah, because you can just slide it down.
Harder than the bottom.
Let me know if you need me to give it a shove. That's excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, ready for the top?
Yep.
Look at that. Nice. Look at that. Oh. I don't think that's a big issue. I just knew it was going to be weird.
Where is it?
Oh, wait, look. Look, that brought it right up to the top.
I was going so careful. I was being so careful.
I mean, it's gonna happen.
I'm hurt.
It's covering the fins. So I say, why don't we put some? Let's put some in the. Let's just do just a hair more. Yeah. I say.
Or will that just go in if it needs it?
Let's run. I think this is good. Let me get this. Let's just look at all of our connections. Transmission cooler is hooked up. We did lose a little transmission fluid, so before we drive tomorrow, let's check the transmission fluid.
Soapy water.
Lower radiator hose is set. Operator hose. These hoses are set. It's not. The radiator isn't leaking out the bottom, so that's not leaking out the petcock.
This isn't touching.
This looks good. This looks clear. All this is secure.
Petcock is closed.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're ready to go.
Okay.
Ready when you are. Awesome. Yeah, you can definitely hear the movement in there. It feels hot.
I want to touch it.
So I'm gonna lift this just a little bit to kind of
here
depressurize it into there. So now, no, you're okay. This part isn't pressurized. So everything in here is never pressurized.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see? So that's good.
Oh.
You're okay. So we're bleeding it out through here. So now tomorrow we'll come and see that's what? That's not even halfway up, is it? Maybe halfway.
Maybe halfway.
Anyway, when it's cool tomorrow, we'll check it and we'll just, if we need to fill it up a little bit, we'll do the transmission and we'll clean it. But that's tomorrow. But we did it.
Okay, so it is the next morning and the radiator has cooled off, so we're gonna double check the expansion tank to see if we need to add more coolant, because if so, we'll do that right now.
You put it on tight.
That's tightening.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. It's just on there tight. Yeah.
I was just double checking I wasn't making it tighter. Goodness. Oh yeah, there's still plenty in there.
Is it any lower than it was?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now that we had everything done, it was finally time to clean up the coolant all over the engine bay.
There's a lot.
It is so funny. A picture of him watching an episode.
Okay. That's a lot better.
Woo!
I just do that little flip level in there.
Right now we're at 180.
Okay, so we're
at 10.
and actually, I guess it's a little, because that's measuring at the back of the head. So surely the radiator, it's already been at one. So we should be circulating through the radiator right now.
So we're going to drive this to the clubhouse in our neighborhood, which is not even a mile away, just to make sure that it's run a little bit. And then we're going to double check. We're going to stop and check for leaks, make sure everything looks good, and then we're going to go home, fix any problems we find, or just call it good. I feel like you have to preface with that.
So just sit here and drive and park.
No park.
Yeah, just like in drive, kind of putting some load on the engine.
Cool.
Surely the temp's gonna go up.
This is a good leg workout. If you've never driven an old car, it really is a workout.
With manual brakes and manual steering.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's so much fun, but it's a workout.
Okay, temp's going up to 187. Okay, go ahead and put it in park and let's go see how we're doing. As we got out to check for leaks, we got to meet some of our neighbors who were at the park. So that was fun. And the good news was that everything looked good.
Temp is up at 198, 99, something like that. So it is rising when we set at idle, but that's what it did before, and it should cool down when we drive back. On the way back to the house, the temperature dropped back down to 180, which was about usual for Carl. So it looks like the radiator is working as it should, and it's really nice to have it not be spraying coolant all over the engine bay. So what I'm taking out of the garage is that even if there are other things that you would rather be doing, it's good to fix something that's broken before it gets any worse. Special thanks to Holley for sponsoring this entire episode, and not only sending us 2 radiators, but sending one the night before we needed it. You really saved us. Thanks as always to my executive producer, Drew Carter, and all my patrons on Patreon. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time in the garage.